Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Shay with Amos. I'm your host, Jacob Gorgie, and today is a Christmas special. We actually are doing a Christmas special on time this year. I'm so proud of ourselves. But we also forgot to decorate the room, so there's a decoration. But anyways, joining me today is Neveen Michael and our now youngest guest ever, Sophie Michael. James, play the clip of Kiro saying he's the youngest guest because that's not true anymore.
I am the youngest person you've had on the show. Is that correct?
So yeah, how y'all doing?
We're great. Thanks for having us.
No problem.
Very excited.
For people who are in St. Mark, Chicago, I think they know what they're going to be talking about. But for everyone else that might be outside of Chicago, you are, I guess, the torch holders of Christmas Around the World.
Yeah.
So tell us about Christmas Around the World. What is it?
Yeah, so it's a presentation held annually that we've been doing, I think, since 1974, I believe. So over almost 40 years, almost 40 years. And at the Museum of Science and Industry in Chicago. And we've been performing there every single year, a Christmas performance, Coptic performance. And the only years we didn't do it was during COVID. And we were, so they stopped in 2021, 22, right? 22. Mm-hmm. And then they brought back a limited style performance this year at the museum. So it's just amazing.
And I know I've been doing Christmas Around the World, participating in it since I was really young, and I know a lot of other people have been as well. So this year when we started it back up again, a lot of my friends were so excited to hear that we were doing Christmas Around the World again, because it really is something that so many people in the church have done from their adolescence, and a lot of people have even been able to see their kids go into it. I know my mom was a participant back in the day, and something that's really special about Christmas Around the World and the program is that my grandfather, my mom's father, was the director of Christmas Around the World back in the day. So it's kind of become a familial affair, if you will. So we're very excited to be able to continue that legacy.
That's awesome. So, because I'll be honest with you, no one just thinks of this idea, out of nowhere. So how did this come about?
Yeah. So the Museum of Science and Industry thought it would be really, really great to celebrate different cultures. So they came up with the program, and they invited Egypt, so it's by country. So if you go to Christmas Around the World, Holiday of Lights, you'll see, first of all, there are different Christmas trees in the area in the rotunda. So Egypt decorates a tree, and I'd love to talk about the ornaments that we made this year, very special. So you'll see the different countries represented. So then when you go to the Christmas Around the World programs, you'll see different ethnicities and cultures performing throughout the entire Christmas season. This year, however, it was literally 11 programs. We had to apply. We got selected, and only 11 performers under the grand tree, 10 minutes each. But again, different countries. Like what came before us was Hawaii, and I think what came after us was
Ireland.
Mm-hmm. So that's how it came about, basically, representing the different cultures in the Chicagoland area. And then for us, representing our heritage, our faith, our culture, our liturgical experiences, and then sharing our story. And we're so grateful that MSI, Museum of Science and Industry, gives us this continued platform, and we just pray it continues.
So then how did, I was going to say your grandfather, your father,
Yeah.
How did he come up? Was it like, did he just find out about it via, I don't know, pamphlet, or was it like?
So when we all first kind of established, our church is established in the early 70s, it was a general Egyptian American society, or Egyptian society, that used to do it in a very secular fashion. And we found out about it, and we said, hey guys, we'd love to present the Coptic church. And so I think they did 1 or 2 presentations, and my dad said, I've got like directing experience, acting experience, I'll take this under my wings. So he took it from there. Like, I'll never forget, like one year there's a large auditorium, and he did, he did some story of some martyr, and there was a big cross that came down from the ceiling, all in silver, that I remember he made from in our garage, and the spotlight on it, and it said, there you will receive the crown of righteousness. So he was just very theatrical and he understood the arts that way, theater. And so he took it on. So, the Egyptian Society was gracious enough to give it to us to continue with the museum. So, and we used to go there as little kids and rehearse during the week or on the weekends at the museum backstage, with the dressing rooms and all. Like, it was a very serious production. Yeah, for years we did that.
So I guess it kind of leads me on to then when you took over. So what was that like, passing of the torch? Was there was there certain challenges that you were worried was going to come up? Were you worried going to mess it up? Was it like...
Yeah, that's a great question, because what happened was in those years, in the late 90s, early 2000s, the museum changed their format and they no longer held it in the auditorium. And they started holding it in the middle of the museum itself. So we had to change the format completely. We could no longer tell stories, right? We had to transform to music only. So I took it over because I realized we needed that format in order to keep the interest of passerbys as they come into the museum. And then I heavily utilized the talents of my kids. First, Andrew and Anthony with their, a young man, Mina Zikri, with the violin, and then Andrew and Anthony with the violin, and then Sophie kind of came of age and helped me with all of the music aspect. So we had to reformulate it because you couldn't do plays anymore, and Sophie kind of became my partner.
So then, are you like up and coming? We don't need to add this in, but are you like up and coming now, or is it kind of?
We'll see.
Okay. I don't know. Is there beef? I don't know.
I'm gonna let her keep it for as long as she wants.
I'm considering myself. I'm learning the role of producer. Means you have to have no talent whatsoever. You don't have to be artistic. You don't have to be musical. But I understand. Shocking to everyone, I understand drama. So I understand the presentation. So I think I help. I think it's kind of become that where I'm the producer, I put it all together, and Sophie is the artistic talent that does all the training. But Sophie will make fun of me with the way I teach the songs.
Yeah.
Like To Mary King Gabriel.
Yeah. So this is something that you could put in there. So one song that my mom absolutely loves is To Mary Came Gabriel. And there's two versions of it. There's one version that's become more popular, that's a bit more appealing, I would say, to Western ears. It follows like a Western chord structure. And that's the one that we performed this year and have been performing for a couple years.
And how does that one go?
To Mary came Gabriel to a village in Galilee. But the version that my mom loves goes like this, and the hand motions are necessary. To Mary came Gabriel. And then fast forward to the chorus, it goes, told her God be with you. Oh, Mary, to you all peace. Oh, Mary, to you all peace. That's exactly how she did it. And if you ask anyone in my age group, they will know exactly what I'm referring to with
What's
that.
funny is Sophie was teasing me about it a couple weeks ago during rehearsal for Christmas Around the World. And she goes, let me show you the motions. And I started doing it. It was identical. She had it down.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
That kind of leads me on to, I guess, now a more important question, really. Because this predates most of the outreach we have today. So a lot of the outreach that we do that's considerably large, it's your Taste of Egypt, kind of events we'll do, dedicated to people outside the community. It's kind of the first one to ever do it. So what was the impact Christmas Around the World had both on the outside community, but also for people within the Coptic community?
Yeah, let me answer the first one first. I love it. Well, we would fill up the auditorium because we had this amazing program. It's what we use now. It's actually how we found it for Taste of Egypt. That video about, the history of ancient Egypt, the role of the Copts, the Coptic language, how it came about. So we created an amazing program taking that incredible video and streaming it in with Coptic, English, Arabic, and narration explaining the different eras of the Coptic Church. So those in the auditorium got a glimpse into the ancient faith and traditions of the Coptic Church, who we are. And we would get repeat visitors. They would look at the calendar, find out when the Coptic Church is presenting again and coming back. And then what we would do is we would have 3 wise men dressed up. I would send them out in the rotunda with little slips of paper, and they would pass out sheets saying, please come to our performance for, Christmas Around the World, representing the Coptic Church Egypt. So I think it brought about awareness of who we are and how we practice our faith, and that we are liturgical. We talk about our language. We talk about our liturgy. We talk about our faith. We talk about how the Holy Family visited Egypt, which is very forgotten, that Egypt is a holy land with the Holy Family, right? So we always weave in the story of the Copts, basically from beginning to end within a 30, 40-minute presentation, or now this last week, a 10-minute presentation.
So then what was the impact inside the Coptic community?
Sophie could talk about it, and then I'd love, because she experienced it, I'd let her start, and then I'll talk about what I see.
I think that just because there's been so much involvement in Christmas Around the World over the years, it used to be something that we would have all Sunday school kids do from literally first grade until high school. So I think it's just something that so many people in the church have participated in. So it's had an impact in that sense. But also, one year, and my mom reminded me of this, it was on January 7th or January 6th, and we were in church, and it was during communion, and we were going through some of the...
and it was during COVID.
Oh, okay. So it was during COVID, and it was during, Christmas Eve liturgy, and we're singing all of the Advent songs during communion, and, not many people knew a lot of them because we only sing them for a couple months of the year. But then, Oh Shepherds in the Field came on, and everyone in the church knew it. And I go to my mom, I go, Mom, you did that. Everyone knows that song because of Christmas Around the World, because we sing it every year. So I think things like that, it definitely, just the participation is just so widespread throughout the church and across so many different generations too, not just one specific age group.
I mean, it started with me as a kid. I start to cry when I think about it because it's just so meaningful and so impactful, right? Like, I love that we've carried on this tradition, and hearing those kids sing that night, and it was all the kids singing, not the adults. Like, the whole, everybody, the deacons, everyone, Oh Shepherds in the Field, it was boisterous, and it really filled the church. And I was proud of that. But thinking back, all the different things that we've done, the different plays that we performed. I remember one year, The Gifts of the Magi. That was amazing, where we took, the song From Every Nation, right? Mm-hmm. We literally did The Gifts of the Magi one year. This was in the late 90s. It was absolutely amazing. Gift of the Magi, where we did the Nativity. And we did the Nativity, right, with the Holy Family, the wise men, everybody visiting. And I had all the little kids who are now in their late 30s, all dressed up in a different ethnic costume. And off to the side of the stage, we started singing From Every Nation. And it was representing all the different nations coming around the manger to celebrate the birth of Christ. So I love how we turned a Coptic English song and relate it to celebrating Christmas around the world. So there are some really memorable moments that I cherish. And that's just, makes me cry.
It's funny because on that note, I know that feeling.
Yeah.
But I get it with Kiak, where they'll do the Arabic O Mary, or they'll do the Arabic, what's the hymn called? Right after O Mary. Your Love Embrace Me. I think it's your Love Embrace Me. But I know where the whole church is it's shaking.
Yeah,
it's insane.
Yeah.
I think it's...
I wouldn't say we were shaking with those shepherds.
But
I wanted to go into my directing mode.
But there's this idea though where especially after COVID.
Yeah.
Because I remember there was this one of the interviews, actually I think it was with Uncle Dr. Atif Mahar, sorry. I was telling him that, because we had to do the liturgy still during COVID, empty. It was just two deacons, abona and khalas.
Yeah.
And a part of me was like, this is the most peaceful thing in the world. I love it. But another part, without being full, there's this essence of just, dare I say, emptiness, that's just there. So I know that feeling exactly. It's a wonderful feeling.
Yeah. The other impact that I would say on our kids, other than I love that they know these songs and they're singing it in church, and they've got these great memories of performing on stage. I think it was the first outreach where they felt they should be proud to be Coptic. They're presenting it to an outside community. We no longer have to be secret about it, especially when we sing Coptic on stage, Arabic on stage, and the audience members are looking for the little kids afterward and saying how great they are. And the kids were proud to show their heritage to a Western community. And I think that's an impact both, on our church and on just the community at large. And I think that is so powerful. And at the end of the show, watching the kids interact with their families and audience members, again, it's amazing. It's so powerful, and I love seeing that. I love seeing, makes them proud to be Coptic, and now they know how to tell their story. Or hopefully they're proud to share their story, because our story is beautiful, it's rare, it's treasured, it's one of antiquities and one of literally ancient preservation of true faith handed down by the apostles. And it's something that we need to keep sharing with the world, because in general, if I meet somebody that's either American, that's either studied theology or knows something about theology, and they ask me what I am and I say I'm Coptic, they're like, oh, you are the ancient faith. And they know who we are right away. And that's it makes me happy. And hopefully that's the glimpse of conversations our young kids have when they start to share their faith. They're able to share it with joy, and somebody on the outside recognizes who they are, and then they share it even more.
So then that segues perfectly into my next question, which is, what was your favorite memories from Christmas around the world? Obviously not the one you just said. We already said that one, but what were your guys' favorite memories?
What are yours? I think that it was cool. Several years ago, the museum shifted to go back into the auditorium.
Yes.
And I know that was really special to experience through my mom's eyes, because it was so impactful for her to go back to where they used to perform. So that was really special for me. And also just becoming more involved in it. I think right around my, upperclassmen years of high school, we started to shift into a much more Western program, and the high schoolers got really involved, and we started to do some really, really cool things. And I think that was definitely demonstrated with the group that we had this year. It was very musical and very collaborative, and so seeing that has been very cool. It's not just something that we come and we teach songs and we perform them, but actually the participants are the ones who are deciding what we're doing and contributing their many, many talents towards the program. So those are two things that I thought were impactful for me, Mom.
Yeah. And I think what Sophie's talking about, Western, it's the musicality. But we're still keeping the Coptic and the Arabic and doing the English songs that are, originally written in Arabic, etc. I weave it into relationships, right? There's so many great stories of when we were little kids and we drive in a snowstorm to rehearse at the museum. We get little ice creams at the end from the staff, all that fun stuff, right? All of that. But if I look at it kind of like a bird's eye view, it's the memories of all the different relationships and the interactions. Like seeing my dad do it, then seeing our generation do it, and then, the next generation participating, and then when my boys started doing the violin for it, and then finally seeing Sophie participate, and all the young kids weaving in and out of it. I think those are the memories I cherish the most. All the different groups in our congregation that have interacted with Christmas Around the World, in the most special way from the time we were really little through today. And I do hope MSI keeps it. I really do. And I love that can I talk about our tree that we got to decorate this year? So every year we have a tree, the Egypt tree, the Coptic tree. And this year we were intentional because they were celebrating their 90th anniversary as a museum, 40th, I think, anniversary with Christmas Around the World. So we made all brand new icons, brand new Coptic crosses, keys of life, a really cool ornament that's wood burning with the Holy Family, and then we got to decorate it. And you just look at that tree and you're just so proud of who you are. We have such a rich tradition and such a rich culture, and just so grateful for the gifts that we have, the gifts of our faith, the gifts of our traditions, the gifts of Christology that we get to share with the world. It's all tied into my favorite memories. It's all a part of it.
So this leads me on then to my last question. It's a very important one, I think at least. What is the legacy of Christmas Around the World?
Sophie, I'll let you take this one. I mean, I hope the museum continues it. That's the first thing that I want to say. Because I was so grateful that after a 3-year hiatus, they sent us an email in June or August, and my hands were shaking, like, we're going to apply. And that we applied, and they selected us. And when we were there decorating the tree, I kept asking the organizers, are you guys going to bring this back? I hope they do. But I think the legacy, even if the museum does not choose to bring this on, we have a really great format and platform around Christmas for figuring out how to create a music program where we can maybe invite the community in and do like a Christmas day in the church. I would love to do that one day if the museum does not continue it. And future generations, like Sophie taking it on from me and taking it to that next level and growing it and growing the legacy of pride and faith of being Coptic and Orthodox.
And I think on a much more granular level, the Coptic Church is not a household name, especially in a lot of American households, and especially people who aren't exposed to the rich theology that we're exposed to growing up. But I think it's really impactful to know that we have had exposure to a lot of people that wouldn't know about the Coptic Church otherwise. And even if it was somebody who was just a passerby, or maybe they sat down and watched our whole program, I think that it's really cool to think about all of the people who learned about the Coptic Church through this program, whether they spent a minute with us or 20 minutes with us. So I think that's really amazing from an outreach perspective. But again, the legacy that I think it serves within the church community itself is just the nostalgic memories, going to the museum, and having these Christmas songs that are Coptic that we all now know because of Christmas Around the World, and being able to really dive into the Christmas season in that way and celebrate that way. So.
And I think when you ask a lot of kids in our church, what's your favorite museum? Quick answer.
The Museum of Science and Industry, because they've probably been to that museum the most out of any museum.
It literally is my favorite museum because of our traditions.
Yeah, me too.
It is, absolutely.
Yeah, and it was my grandfather's favorite museum his entire life. I think he had a membership card, honestly.
Oh, every year. And we would take him. Yeah. I got that crazy Santa hat with the beard with him that I wear every year and scare everybody with it, but it's actually cute. Yeah. And he was there at that, I think in 2018, he was at that performance. Mm-hmm. Very special. Yeah.
Well, with that said, that's all we have for you guys tonight. Thank you guys so much for watching. Thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you for having us.
Yeah, Jacob, thank you, and Merry Christmas. Wishing you a blessed Advent season. Wishing everybody a blessed Advent season.
Yes, and thank you also for all the Christmas Around the World stuff you guys have continued to do, because it really is cool. I've had the privilege of performing in it a couple times, actually.
So I'd like to turn the question on you before we close. What is your impact? What is the impact on you as a participant?
No, this is my show. Can I put that? So,
Interviewee becomes the interviewer.
well, you say that, and I was thinking about that. I think understanding how do you actually do outreach.
Yeah.
You know, because I'm very, dare I say, traditionalist when I say, it's like when someone asks me what's Coptic Orthodoxy, I'll pull out the chart, the schisms, you know, all the, seriously, I will. And because that's the heritage, right? That's what I was, you know, kind of taught growing up, which is good. Parents, keep doing that, please. Kids need to know that. But understanding, like, when you're doing outreach, you know, who you actually reaching out to.
Yeah.
You know, especially like in our blessed media stuff we do, that's like the number one priority is outreach.
And if I could add to that, that's what's really cool. Like when we sing Jingle Bells, we sing it in Arabic and English because we're creating a commonality that we are just like you. We're all the same. And I think that's part of that outreach. And even, what other songs do we do, English, Arabic?
This year we sang O Como Como Emmanuel in Arabic and English, which was really cool.
So that those, you know, the audience members realize, wow, they celebrate Christmas just like us. So that is part of that outreach. So, yeah.
So anyway, so with that said, I'm ending the show, okay? Thank you guys so much for watching. Merry Christmas. We're released like right in between. So happy past American Christmas. Happy
Kiak.
coming up. Yeah, happy Kiak. Well, yeah, Kiak will still be going on actually. Happy Kiak. Happy New Year. Happy Coptic Christmas. God bless and good night.